Welcome to QValidation.com. So, in our protractor series, the next topic is how to prepare the test data or how to kind of prepare certain data for your application so that you need not to do a hard code. So, to understand what exactly I'm talking, so let's move to our the previous project that we are currently working. So here you can see the browser.get. So it's the URL which I hard coded it. But in real time scenario, this can't be the scenario because sometimes what happens, the application what you are testing, that will not be same all the time because it could be sometimes you can work on the demo environment or else QA or sometimes into production because your code will not be changing or the way you are automating or your automation script will not change. Only the thing that will change is your URL. Okay, so instead of hard coding it, we can customize it or we can use an external source from where we can get the data so that whenever you need, so you need not to come here into the script and you need to change. Okay, and there is another scenario. So let me move to the page object model that we have used. So if you see here the add customer, this is basically the application that we are testing. So there if you see a few things we have hard coded it like your first name, your last name and postal code. So it's again the same thing that you might not always want to use the same data every time you want to execute, or let's say in production you might want to change the data to something else. So that time again you have to come inside the script and you have to change. So as I told, the main motto behind this one is that you need to change or you want to give a flexibility of changing the data from an external source so that it can reduce the what do you call the script editing at any moment. Okay, so now I think you understood what is, why exactly we need an external source to provide the data, or else we need an external source of data into this script. Okay, so there are different ways that we can get the external what you call we can get the data from external sources, like let's say that JSON, or else we can use any kind of Excel sheet or a notepad or any kind of thing that we can get it. So as we are working on JavaScript or TypeScript, it's sometimes easy to use the JSON file because as you know the JSON file is very lightweight into the in terms of the data handling. Okay, so we can use that. So in this video we will see there are different ways we can handle like a JSON file, or else we can use our own what you call TypeScript file where we can provide the data and we can access it. Okay, so let's get started. So to have an JSON file, what I need to do, first thing I need to create a folder, and so let's create a folder and just name it as test data. Okay, so under this I need to create a file. Okay, so I need to give some file name, so let's say properties file or prop.json. Okay, now here we need to provide different data. Okay, so for that we need to have a format of the JSON. So here what I can do, key value pair. So JSON is basically a key value pair. Key is your whatever the string you need to give, and then the value of that. Now from where we need to get the URL, so here. Okay, so what I can do, I can copy this one and I can paste it. It should be okay like this, and then put a comma. Now after that we need the first name, last name and the postal code. Okay, so what we can do, we can categorize that. So let's say those are basically the customer details, right? Customers detail. Now these customers will have again three keys. Okay, so we need to put like this. Okay, so under this you will have your first name, and that could be something, so let's put the same values, and then last name and put XYZ. Okay, then put a comma and then postal code. Okay, and here put 1 2 3 4 5. That's it. Okay, You can have multiple what do you call customer details, but for now we'll take only one set of data that we can use in our script. Okay, so here to read the JSON file, what we need to do, I have tried this to access the data. So there is a few what do you call a few settings required to access the JSON data. So for that, what you need to do, you need to create a file inside your project folder, okay, or under your project folder, and you can give like this typings, and then you can give dot d dot ts. Okay, you have to name like this typings dot d dot ts, and here what you need to do, you need to write this command. Okay, so declare module, and here you need to give start.json file. I'll tell you what exactly this does. Okay, and under this you need to create a constant variable, and you can say value, and this should be any type, any, in case of your TypeScript, any means it can handle any type of data. Okay, and then you have to export data JSON file, export default that value, whatever value is there from that JSON file, that you need to export it. So you need to copy this 3 lines of code and put it inside a typings.d.ts file. That's it. Now this is done. Now the second thing, we need to access the data from your JSON file. Now where we need to, so first thing we need to what do you call change this URL. Okay, we don't want to hard code it. So here what you can do, import and then star as prop. So let's say like this, from the file path. Where is the file path? This is my test data, under that prop.json. Okay, so you need to give like this. Now here what you can do, so prop that variable name dot, and here what you can do site URL. Okay, and this should be under your browser.get. Okay, so here is throwing some error, so let's see what is that. So it's saying that we need to change, so it's not able to identify what is that prop exactly. So here what we can do, we can write like this, any, we need to cast it to any, and here you can do like this. Okay, see the error is gone. So now this is done. Now we need, so now we need to find it out where and all we have the that what do you call we need that data from that JSON file into here. So this is again another file where we need the data from the JSON. So let's copy this one, and here let's paste it. Fine. Now here what we can do, so here we can mention like this. So let's say first name, create a variable, and here prop dot, again customers. This is not site URL now. This is customers first name. Fine. Now it's throwing error. The same thing only. So what you can do here, like this, you need to cast it any, and then like this. Okay. The same thing you have to do for all three. Okay. Now here should be like this, and this should be your last name, and here also ls, and the third thing is your postal code. Fine. Now here postal code. Fine. Okay, so here it is also postal code, that's why two variables can't be same. So let's put p code. Now here you need not to now hard code it directly, you can say first name. Okay, and here it should be this dot last name. Okay, and here this dot p code. That's it. Now what happens, every time you need to run your code, you need not to give hard code it, so you can just come here and change whatever the first name, last name, and postal code, so that it will take care of that automatically here. Okay, now let's find it out where and all we have the data that we need to take it from JSON file. So here is also one more is there, see ABC. So you can do the same thing. Let's copy paste the import statement from here. Okay, and here what you can do, f name equal to the same thing. You need to cast it to any and prop dot customers. Okay, this should be small, and then dot first name. Fine. So now here inside this method, what I can do, I can create a local variable and then which I will assign that this dot f name. Okay, and here, then now here what I can do, I can use that f name. Fine. So I have now let's see if anything else is here. Yes, we do have one more. So let's change it and the same thing. Copy this one and put it here. And then here we need two variables. So what I can do here, name equal to, so here what I can do, prop and dot customers dot first name and then append it. Here put a space because first name plus last name. See how you can do this is my first name space last name. Okay, so here what I can do, the same thing, I'll copy it and here I'll paste it, but this should be my last and then put a semicolon. Fine. Now what I can do here, the same thing, I'll create a name variable equal to this dot name. Fine. Now here what I can do, I can use directly that name. Fine. Everything is set now. So we have this. So there are three pages that we have, what do you call, instead of hard coding, we have taken from the JSON file. Now let's try to run and see if it is working as expected or not. So let me go to the WebDriver Manager folder and start the server. So start, and it should say Selenium server is up and running. Fine. Now let's go to another terminal and say npm test. It should invoke the driver, I mean the browser, and it should execute those scripts. Let me put it into the center. So it's giving me error that cannot find the module from test data prop.json. So what we can do, sometimes this will be the case, so it will not able to identify the data properly. So what we can do, okay, so here this is a mistake here. See here, the prop.json was not under test data folder. Okay, that's what the mistake was. Can go to this finder and let's get the full path of this file. Okay, so here what I can do, I can copy paste this total. Okay, and let's put everywhere the full path of that. So sometimes the relative path it is not taking, so you have to provide the full path of that JSON file. Okay, now let's put everywhere, copy paste. Fine. So npm test and let's try to run this one. Okay, so it's opening the browser and see here you can see ABC XYZ and 1 2 3 4 5 it taken from the JSON file. Now we don't have anything such as hard coded text. Now it's selected from that drop down. Okay, and then it will go to the customers tab and here you can see there is a entry made. Now we didn't hard code, so next time instead of ABC XYZ you can put any names there. Okay, so now this is the way you have to take the data from the JSON file. So sometimes so this is one way of taking what you call the data from a JSON file. And there is, as I told at the beginning of this video, that we have another way to get the data. So let's try that. So what happens if you don't want to put all these things like converting that what you call content of the JSON file into a any and then use all these details. So instead of that, we can use another option that we can create a TypeScript file, and in that itself we can what you call provide the data as a JSON file. Okay, so that also the TypeScript is giving you another option actually to do that. Okay, so let's try to copy this JSON file, and put it under the same folder, and let's rename this and say property prop1. Okay, prop1. And here we need to change a bit. As I told, it's the same way your JSON file, just one command you need to give. So that is module dot exports equal to this one. Okay, and this should not be JSON file, my bad. It should be property dot prop1 dot ts, because as I told, it's a TypeScript file. Okay, fine. So now what you can do, module dot exports equal to, and then you can put the data as a JSON format as you need. Okay, so now it will, what exactly this will do, the TypeScript will treat it as a module, as a ts file, and now what happens, we will take the data from that ts file only. Okay, so now what you can do, now you do need this import command actually. Okay, and let me comment all these things. Fine. So here what you can do, instead of going there, so what you can do, you can create a variable. So let's say prop1 equal to require, you need to give require, and then here you have to give the complete path of that file, or else you can give like this as well. Okay, test data slash here prop1 only. Okay, because prop is JSON file. Okay, so we have to give this prop1. Fine. Now, so here what happens, let me copy this 3 and then edit it with respect to your. So now you don't need this what you call this any and all those things. Directly you can use prop1. Fine. And here, so here it should be this dot prop1. Fine. Here this dot prop1. The same thing. This dot prop1. Fine. And let's uncomment this. And don't change anything. The rest things will remain same only. The same thing here. And let's comment it. Fine. And here, instead of this one, what we can say, browser, and here we need to create a variable prop1 equal to require, because it's a module. I mean the property prop1.ts is a module. So in TypeScript, if anything you want to get it from a module, then you have to put a require keyword here, require, and then put this data slash prop1. Fine, that's it, and then put a colon here, and this should be here let. Okay, and here what you can do, browser.get, here what you can do, prop1 dot site URL. Fine, that's it. So here you don't need to what you call typecast to any or some other what you call data type. Directly you can do that. And then the same thing, let me copy this one, better option, and here comment this one, and here let's comment this one and put it here. Fine, and don't need let. Now here the same thing, let's make copy, and here f name, and here it should be prop1, this dot prop1. Fine. And the same thing you need to do for the last base file, this one. So here just comment this one and put it here like this. Fine. And here comment it, and I've copy pasted that one, and let's change it a bit. Start prop 1. Fine. Okay, so what exactly I have done? I've created a TS file which will be similar as your JSON file, and then what I did, I have imported that, not like import star, but I have did that one by like this prop1. I have created a variable or an object which will hold your that TS file data, and then what I did, I have traversed through the required key to use in my script. That's it. Now here what we can do for a change, let's put this data into something else. Fine. And here let's put like this. See, this is the flexibility. So you can change the data as you require, so that you need not to go each and every file and change it the way you need. Okay. Now let's try to run the same npm test, and let's say, okay, so it entered all the required data that we have taken it from that TS file or from that module. Because if we would not have taken from that, what do you call, from that external source, and we want to change the name, then we have to go all the way, all the different files that we have the data, and then we need to change one by one. So this is one of the benefit of, what do you call, having the external source. So whenever you need, you can change the data. See, it all executed. Fine. So these are the two ways that you can have your external source data, and you can use it in your script. And we can even use your Excel sheet, because the JavaScript or the node package, there are several node packages are available online that you can integrate with your protractor framework, and you can get the data from the Excel sheet as well, that we will see in our upcoming videos. Okay, so stay tuned with such more, what do you call, videos on the protractor and other technology, and do subscribe.